Hi everyone, welcome to another session of Building Blocks. I'm Judy Brown from the Little Fabric Garden, and today I'm going to show you a kind of treat block. And if you're wondering what that is, I just want you to take a look right down here, and you'll see that there are some potato chip bags here. Now when I was younger, much younger, Lay's potato chips came out with a little saying is, bet you can't eat one, just bet you can't eat one. And it was surely true that, if you opened up the bag and you ate one, before you knew it, the bag was gone, especially these little tiny ones. So today I'm going to show you how to do a potato chip bag or block. And the reason that I think the reason that it got its name is because you just can't do one. You've got to do a whole bunch because they get kind of fun and you want to just keep on going. And so anyway, it ends up being a scrappy quilt. And I don't know if you can see over here, I can show you a little bit more later, but this is what the quilt looks like when it's done. And it's very, very scrappy. I love the look of scrappy quilts, but I've always had a really, really hard time doing them because I'm kind of like what they say, anal. Things have to balance, if you've got a red one here, you have to have red one here, and that kind of thing. But with this quilt, this block, you can't do that. And I will explain to you how we do that. So in this little tub, there are a whole bunch of scraps, and you can see these are all cut the same size, and they are cut at 2.5 by 4.5. And what's really nice about these is if you're putting a binding on a quilt, usually the binding for most people is 2.5 inches wide. And then you always have a piece left over at the end and you never know what to do with it. Well, here is what you can do. You can take those, press them open again, and measure 4.5 inches and throw them in a tub. And just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and pretty soon you've got one that kind of looks like this. Now, I've been kind of lucky because I have a bunch of friends who, will do the same thing, and they'll bring in, some of their pieces, and then I just cut them and I throw them in here, and I welcome them to take as many as they want to try one of these themselves. So today we are going to do the potato chip block. And it is all done by scraps, and you don't look, you just grab a scrap out of the bag or out of the tub, and then you sew it on. So I got started, or I did the first one, and so you just take 2 of them and you sew them together, and you end up with a square, like a 4.5 inch square or a 4-inch square. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take 2 more. So I'm just going to pick in there, and it doesn't make any difference if you have a Christmas one with an Easter one, or it doesn't make any difference at all. So I'm just going to put this one on this side, and it's kind of like like a log cabin or all the courthouse steps, how we do those. It is kind of the same thing. But we're going to call it potato chip because it makes me feel better if I do that instead of courthouse steps or something like that. So we're just going to sew these. Sew on either side of this one. Okay, so there's that. And I'm hoping this machine is going to be working okay. I haven't used it in a long time. But I let somebody borrow my other one, and I forgot today was video day. So here I am pulling out another machine. Good thing I have a bunch of them. All right. Now typically I would take these over to the ironing board and I would press them open. But I think that what I'm going to do is just kind of finger press them down so that, we're not wasting a whole lot of time with that. So right now, this is what we have. So next, to go up here, we need 2 more of these going across here and 2 more going here. So I'm just gonna take 2 of them, and I'm not gonna look, because you know what I said, I'm just, you know. And like I said, I love them, I just don't like, you know, doing scrappy quilts until I did this. And I really did this whole thing like in 2 days, because I got going on it. I was like, oh, this is cute. Let's keep on going. Bet you can't eat one. So here we go. Right. And a block really doesn't take any time at all. Well, no, watch. It'll take me forever today. So, and that is gonna, this one's gonna go across here. Just gotta press that down, I'm gonna do 2 more, reach in here and grab 2 more. And that does not come apart. So, let's do this cute little Easter one. All right. You gotta remember, right sides together and 1/4 inch seam allowance, just like we always do. Alright, so now I've got these 2 ready. And another nice thing is you don't have to worry about matching up seams. So you don't have to have one going this way and one going this way and nest them up, because you're not going to have to worry about that. So this one's going to go down here. We'll put this one over top like this. I'm really not going to worry too much. I might just, if it's one's a little bit long, I just might chop it off, because this is a fun little block to do. Now really, in reality, it's best if you pin these. But today we're just going to be rebels and not do that. Of course, that's going the wrong way, but. Now this one is going to go here. Straighten this up a little bit. Off we go again. So, this is what we have so far. All right, so our next pieces are going to go across here. Now you can see this one is a little bit longer. It may have been a little bit longer than 4.5, because when I cut them, a lot of times I cut like a whole bunch of them at one time. So maybe one on the bottom like slipped up a little bit. So I'm going to trim that off right now so that, it's pretty straight. So when I go to put the other one, the next row on, I don't go getting all messed up. So we'll just trim it off a little bit. Get rid of that. All right, so we got that. Now our next round is we're going to put 2 more here and 2 more here, just like we did here. That's what we're going to put on the top and or on the top and the bottom. All right, so reach in. Let me go down to the bottom. I don't know what's down here. Oh, there's Santa. Okay, we'll get Santa. And we'll go on this side. And a snowflake. Well, how about that? So we'll sew those 2 together. It's kind of nice after I did that one. Now altogether, I'm pretty sure that there are 18 of these blocks, these 2.5 by 4.5. I think there's 18 in this block. So, you know, if you wanted to, you could go through and pick out 18 and then decide where you wanted to do it. The fun of it is that you just keep pulling out of the bin and you don't know what you're going to get. All right, and so this will go down here. So we will sew this, and this, and then we'll move on. Next round, I do believe, is going to be 3 together. All right, so the next round will be 3. So we will be putting, let me just finger press this. Yeah, I'm not real crazy about finger pressing either. I like it to be down and crisp, but just for showing you how this is going, I think it'll be fine, and I'll press it when we get to the end. All right, so 3 going here and 3 going there. So maybe out of the middle. Let's see what's in the middle here. Okay, there's 1 and 2, and there's a pretty one right there on top. Whoa. 3. Okay. And another thing that's kind of nice is that, you know, like all of the blocks are different because they're, I mean, even if you have some of the same fabrics in it, you've got them in different places and they definitely look different. So, this is one I really hope you try because, you know, if you've got the, you know, the pieces, the strips that you can cut into the 4.5 inches, I think you really enjoy doing this one. And I try to look and see, oh yeah, I remember that fabric, I remember when that came in, yeah, I made this out of that, you know, so you can, kind of like a Where's Waldo? All right, so here we go. We're gonna do this next round. We're having a few little technical difficulties with my machine. I think it's all straightened around now. Now this is going to be our last round for this particular block. Now you can make them bigger and go around again, you know, so your block would be bigger, but this was really a nice size to work with. So after I get this done, then I will measure it to see what it is. I'm thinking it's a 12.5, but I'll measure it to make sure. This one's going to go here. Now if you look here, you're going to see that a part of the selvage edge is sticking out here, but it's not going to make any difference because it's going to get sewn in. So if some of those things happen when you're cutting them, don't be too concerned unless it's a big chunk. Then then you can't use it. But this is going to work perfectly. So no worries on that. All right, so we are going to get this one sewed on. So as you can see, this block does not take that many. And you know, like if you keep saving those binding pieces, you're going to end up with a tote like this in no time. So you could be making them right along and maybe putting them aside so that you'll have them, you know, at a time later on. Just keep making them, putting them away, and pretty soon you're going to find that you've got enough to do a whole quilt. And like I said, it's just a fun thing to do because it's, you know, it's kind of mindless. You know, you don't have to think about, you know, all the half square triangles or anything like that. You just straight stitch and here you go. This one's going to go here, and after we get that done, then I am going to take it over and I'm going to press it so you can really see. Now this one's a little bit longer, so I'm not sure what happened. So I'm just going to like sew it down, and then I'm going to just trim off those little pieces off the side, which is another nice thing about this. You just sew and cut and trim if you need to. So if you give me a minute, I'm going to go over and press it down so it looks a little bit better, and then I will trim it, and then I will show you what the finished block looks like. Okay, so here's the finished block, and as you can see, it didn't take very long. When you put them together, a fun way to do them, and we're just going to look at the center part, like the two that I started out with. So on this one, and of course, I think, you know, on this one, they're going this way, but when you look at it here, the next block goes the other way. It just, you know, not that it makes a difference, you know, but I think it does change the look a tad bit. But as I said, it doesn't take very long to do it. This got done in, you know, a couple of days. And once you do one, you just can't do one. You've got to keep on going, just like those potato chips. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it. It's a lot of fun. And if, you know, if you're around Bradford and you need some 2.5 by 4.5 inch strips, stop by the store. We've got a whole tub full of them. So have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us. See you the next time. Bye-bye.
Perfect.
Okay, so on a side note here, I said I was going to tell you how big this was, and I thought it was 12.5 inches square, but it isn't. It comes out to 12-inch square, so I was a liar by 1/2 inch all the way around. So please try it. You'll have fun.